Hello everyone, welcome to my first video in music composition for video games. And for this video, what I want to do is introduce what I'm going to be working on for the next few months on this channel. If you haven't seen my intro video, here's the TLDR. I am a creative director in advertising. I saw an ad for music composition course by Jason Graves. I took it and I'm inspired. And so I opened this channel to continue writing music, enjoying that process, that creative process, and document here that said process with all its flaws and everything. Because as I said, I'm a creative director. I'm not a musician. I wasn't trained in music. I am self-taught, and I don't know. I thought it was fun. So in said course with Jason Graves, our very final assignment was to create a music suite. The way he does this is that he gives us 3 options of video games with clips, scenes that we need to then put music to. And for this video, I'm going to show you the music that I created. It's just basically 3 tracks. One that works as a main theme for the menu screen, another one that works for exploration, and another one that exploration, let's say like low tension exploration. I want to say it's also a little bit atmospheric, and then another track that is a little bit more high tension, right? And in this case, for my particular case, it was more like combat, a combat track. And the reason why I'm creating this video is because I want to continue developing this music suite. I don't know if I have to say it, but this is educational purposes only. I don't want to, I'm not sure if I run into any rights or copyright thing, but this is educational purposes only, and I'm not going to be using none of the music from none of the original music from the video game itself. So the video game that I picked was Hallownest. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the music put on the clip that we were provided. But for now, what I want to show you are the tracks that I worked on. Before we get into it, I want to set up kind of my mindset when I started the project. So it's Hallownest. I kind of went into the concept of hollow, into the word and the literal kind of idea of hollows, emptiness, hueco in Spanish. So that was basically my starting point. And another thing that I wanted to do was do very melodic themes because of the nature of the game, right? I come from the 90s. I come from platformers, and these tracks for these levels are very melodic and very memorable. So I wanted to lean into that a little bit. And also my third kind of thought before I started was I wanted it to be, I didn't want it to be very dark, even though Hallownest has this kind of feeling, but it's kind of the contrast that I feel with Hallownest, right? It feels very dark, but at the same time, it feels very cute, if you will, right? Like my partner, my girlfriend saw it, and she calls the little character Hello Kitty, right? So with that, I felt that there was like this very intense, not intense, but there was this contrast, right, of everything being kind of dark, but then also but your character is very bright, and then in certain levels, certain specific kind of elements in each level are very colorful and then create this contrast. And you as you navigate the game and explore the game, you feel this atmosphere, but then when you get into a boss, it's very intense and very epic, right? So those contrasts, I wanted to play with those contrasts in the game, for the music of the game, right? So I kind of limited myself for the main themes, for the exploration and the level music. I wanted it to be as minimal as possible, even though I ended up with, not many, kind of with lots of instruments, but I wanted to play with space. I wanted to play with emptiness, given this concept of hollow. and silent. So the main theme, it's very simple in that sense. I didn't want to use any like flashy special effects, flashy sound design that's very popular nowadays. I wanted it to be completely instrumental. So that's kind of the gist of it. I think I think I'm not letting. If anything, I'll interrupt the playing and bring it up. But yeah, let me just go ahead and play. Let's go ahead and play the menu music. Oh, one thing is, this is the software that I used. I don't know if it's the best software for this kind of projects, but it's the software that I've been using for so many years that, I mean, for me, it's kind of hard for me to swap to another software. And when I say the software, this is Reason, Reason Studios. I've been using Reason for since version 3 or 4, I think, and this is version 13. So this is it. And let's hear my main theme music. Okay. So a few comments. Again, very simple, very melodic. That melody actually, I don't play piano, so I did this everything, all of this in the piano. So as I attempted to play a composition that I had for many years on the guitar, I attempted to play it on the piano and I couldn't. So this melody was that came out of that attempt. So I kept it. And that composition that I'm talking about, it's what I used for the exploration theme. So you're gonna hear it. Anyways, very simple composition. What I'm using here as a main instrument is the harp, and then for some harmonies and ambient and kind of moody, a simple cello, that I call it low because it's kind of in the bassy kind of zone, and then I have violins that are a little bit higher, right? So I one thing that I learned from the class was to kind of have this combination of something that's in the low end and something that is the middle end and something that is the high end. So kind of when you're playing drums, right? Like you have the bass drum, which is the low end, you have your snare, which is your mid frequencies, and then you have the hi-hat and the crash and the cymbals to be like your high frequency, high end in the spectrum. So that's that. And then I introduce these instruments like to give some movement, dramatic movement, is if you will, to the piece. So that's a celeste, that's a flute, and a piccolo. It gives it a little dramatic tension there that I kind of liked, because being this the main theme of the game, and also the concept of Hollow Knight, right? So my main idea for the main theme was to create a track or a theme for the character itself, not necessarily for not like the overall game, but the character, but actually the character, right? So in a sense, this main theme is called Hollow Knight for me, right? I didn't call it that, but for me. And then I end up with the same melody in the introduction, but some elements of voices here, and a what you call it, a pizzicato violin adding, right? And that's again to keep the music moving, right? To finish with the core melody and also give it some movement, and stages, right? So starting very kind of melancholic, then a little bit dramatic, and then a little bit happier, um like a like an arc, right? And then I also, in the middle of this more dramatic movement of the song, I introduce a bass. So boom. Okay, just to again add more movement, right? And feel the track a little bit more with the bass. So that was the music for my main theme, and very simple, and very, I think, very cool. Okay, so then we get into our exploration. Let me just switch camera. Okay, so my exploration again, it keeps the same kind of mood and vibe. It's very simple, very quiet, if you will. That's intentional. And for this one, I did two versions, right? I'm gonna mute this track, which is a drum. I did two versions of this, having a low exploration and kind of mid exploration. Um, I'm gonna, yeah. Let me just play it with the drums, and let's hear it. I just noticed there's I didn't clean a noise from the guitar there, but yeah, that's my exploration. And you heard the drum. It's just like a bass drum playing with some cymbals, hi hats, and some a little bit of crash and right, here and there. But I did want two versions, one with the track with the drums and one without the drums, depending on the. You're gonna see how I use it in the video that I was giving for Hollow Knight to put music on, and how I used both versions of that. It's basically just a low exploration and then a mid exploration, mid tension, if you will. But yeah, this is the guitar that I was saying that I was attempting to play in the piano. Why isn't playing? This guitar is this is a composition I did a while ago on the guitar. And yeah, it's very simple. It's D major 9, A, D major 9, A, G, A, and then I think it's B7 by the end. So very simple chord progression. I composed that many years ago. I've never found like something to do with it until I got this project. So So yeah, and then it's again very simple, keeping it very simple. I have like an upright bass there as well, just to keep the same kind of vibe that I had in the main theme. Again, I have the guitars. Then for the beginning, I added this texture. I wanted to add this texture to the guitars. I don't even know if you hear here. The guitar there sounds like it's only mid frequencies. It sounds, what it does is it gives it like a telephone kind of effect. So, and then when it kicks in, when the music kicks, then the guitar goes full spectrum. So a little bit of sound design. Those are the little bit of sound design and the special effects that I did. I tried not to do any. I wanted it to keep it very, very real, very tangible, and everything done with instruments. The only other effect that I used also was this piano here. That's a reversed piano. Right? That's the only piano that I used. Effect, I'm sorry. And then also in response to the guitar, right? I did this little pianos. That it's when I actually got to play the guitar part in the piano, and I kept it here. I don't know why this is not. There you go. Right? I got to play it, right? And then I did these responses to the guitar, right? And then, right? So just to play it with the song, right? It's the same. Then that's A. And I did these kind of responses to the guitar, like a detail with some reverb and some delay there. And then I have some strings. The strings that this is inspiration from Zelda Breath of the Wild. For some reason in my head, I heard this. That's from Breath of the Wild. The shrines, when you're in the shrines, that something like this play. You remember Breath of the Wild is very, very like only piano, but every now and then they add in some other instruments, very subtle. That's a genius, very inspiring soundtrack. So I kind of took that from them. It's just like a tremolo strings, and again I have a low and a no, I have a left and a right, like two, to give it some body, like but this is basically just that, basically. Um, for this section, I have a horn, right? Let me see if I can make this play. I don't know why it's not playing. Right? That's A. That's G again. I don't know what I do there. A. And then B7. And horn goes away. Okay. And the only reason why I know those those chords is because before this video I looked for them. So I didn't even know that was B7 and any of that. So, and then of course I have in the background for ambience, the strings and woodwinds. All right. It's kind of childish feeling. I don't know. It's very comforting in my opinion, and very pretty. So that's it. That's the song. It seems like a lot of instruments, like contrary to what I was saying, but believe me, for the tracks that I made for this course, this is just yeah, this is very simple. And again, the track is very simple. I have 1 minute tracks. One of the things that I plan to do as we continue developing the suite is just to make 1 minute tracks. If I have to go longer, I go, but let's just keep it within the 1 minute and see how that goes. And then the other track that I did was for higher tension, right? And in this case, for the video, what made sense was a combat track more than a higher tension track. And that's what I did. And for this one, yes, this one I went a little bit more. It's a bit more complex in terms of instrumentation and not as quiet. Again, like I was explaining at the beginning of the video, is I wanted to keep that contrast that I felt the game had visually in its art direction and in its gameplay. So I did that with the music as well, where the exploration is very quiet, main theme is very quiet, like it feels very atmospheric and very pretty, if you will. But then when intensity comes back, we go to the completely other side and become very, very, very intense. So for this track, what I did was not only when higher in intensity, much higher in intensity, but it's kind of a evolution of the track for the level. So I wanted it to feel like part of that level, if you will. So in my mind is the track that plays for bosses in that level, or for what we got in the video, right? So there are two kind of you're gonna see that in the video, with the Hollow Knight video that we were gave in the course. There's like a mini boss or a big enemy, if you will. I know they're not bosses 'cause I played the game, but it's like a bigger boss. It's the very first time you encounter one of those big guys, and then it's like a boss that you fight. So I wanted this track to feel like it's in the same stage. So I took this element of this D major 9, right? This major 9, and I just, let me see if I can do it. I did it like that in 3/4, and I put it under a 4/4. The whole track is in 4/4, but I did this in 3. In 3/4 very quickly to add tension, right? To add tension, but it's the same chord of the main track, so I wanted to keep it in the same level. And another thing is that since the boss that I had in the video was called the fake knight, I felt the need to bring in the Hollow Knight theme as a theme of the knights, right? So you're gonna also see here an iteration of the same melody played in this track. So that's it, I guess. One of the things also for this track, in terms of inspiration, you're gonna see that in terms of the progression of the music, you're gonna feel like this going up in intensity, bang, 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 bang. And the inspiration for that was Grandma from the, not my grandma, but the track Grandma, if I remember correctly, from the Nier Automata soundtrack, which it does that in a much elaborate, but yeah, it does that, and I took that as inspiration. So having said that, let's hear the track. and that's how it ended. Really, the video ends with the stinger. I'm not gonna play the stingers. I don't know. I don't remember how to say those. Stinger. I'm not gonna play the stingers here, but it ends with the stinger. I have it here actually. It ends with this stinger. That is kind of the Hollow Knight. Right? It's the Hollow Knight theme melody, the core melody, right? So it's just play faster because the main theme is in 75 BPM and this one is at 144, so kind of almost double, close to double. So that's the track. And again, I took a lot of inspiration on the Nier Automatas, especially for the kind of building up aspect, especially in this area here. Right? And then for that, I also, to add even more intensity to it, I added voices. Staccato. So as you can see, I have high and low. Well, this is a copy. Please don't go by my naming. I'm really bad at organizing things here. I'm very visual. When I start working, I start identifying everything by the colors and by what I see these little bars. So I'm very bad at keeping everything organized. Why is this not working? No, I want to. This, right? I start identifying the lines and recognizing which instruments I'm looking at and playing with, but just looking these bars. So I'm really bad at the naming convention. So please don't learn that from me. That's something I gotta work. So yeah, and then what else? I did add also for this area a very simple hi-hat like that, because I feel it adds to that intensity, right? And what else? I think the drums, right? I have some hits, right? And then I have the drum rolls. And this also, this beat, it also comes from inspiration from Nier Automata. Boom, 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. If you heard Emil's Despair, I think it is the track. It's if not the same beat, it's very similar. Bum 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 bum. So that was from there. And then the drum rolls, right? Right? And of course I have piano here with the melodies, right? I have both. This one that is in kind of 3/4, and not kind of, it's in 3/4, and then I also accompany that with some pizzicatos, violin, and then for the Hollow Knight melody is in piano here. Right? And that's it. I think that's it. What is this? I don't remember. It says contact. Oh no, this is that effect of kind of the riser, if you will, of rice that I did with or orchestrated rice, I guess. Right? Just at the beginning, it gives that. Right? Especially with this drum roll, it sounds very nice. And then here, oh, this is just a crash in reverse. So again, one of the little sound design effects that I used overall, everything I used was like not real instrumentation because this is all sampled, right? But I wanted it to feel very tangible and very real. That not, I tend not to really like a lot of sound design, if you will, like make music out of sound design. I know it's very popular nowadays, especially for atmospheric music and that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I didn't feel this game was was asking for that. I felt like it was asking for something more melodic and more that feels a little bit more instrumental, if you will. But that is it. That those are the main tracks. Of course, there are stingers here and there, or stingers. I don't remember how to say them. Please correct me in the comments. But that's it. Now, again, the reason why I'm showing you this is because my next videos, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna capture different stages from Hollow Knight, the game, have them in mute, and then make music for those stages. And kind of the same approach, make an exploration, low exploration music, maybe a mid exploration music with a little bit more high intensity, and then like a combat kind of music for when we encounter bosses or mini bosses or that sort of stuff. So also we're going to be creating those stingers for when, you know, different circumstances. If you don't know what a stinger is, please let me know in the comments below and I can make a video explaining what those are. But the following videos of this series are going to be us completing, quote unquote, completing a music suite for Hollow Knight, for educational purposes, right? For us to learn, and I'm planning to document everything so I can share with you my process as a non-musician and how I come up with all these melodies and ideas, and actually discover them, because I don't know what I'm doing. All of this is basically me just playing around and figuring things out as I go. But that's it. Now I'm gonna play. I'm gonna leave you with the video, with the actual video that I received from Jason Graves, which is this clip from Hollow Knight that has this music. So what you're gonna see in that video is only my music put onto the video without any sound effects, right? From the game itself, for example. I mean, so what does that mean? Well, it means that, you know, you're not gonna hear when he walks, when he attacks, I mean the Hollow Knight, when he gets hit, like all those special effects from the game. No, we receive a completely mute video and we put music to it. So that's why you're not gonna hear anything from the game, just my music. So having said that, I'm gonna leave you with that, and what we're gonna be doing in the next video is then take a different stage. I'm thinking of this, remember this area from Hollow Knight that is kind of leafy with a lot of leaves, very green. I'm thinking I'm gonna take that area. Actually, I think the fight it's with the mantis and in that area, if I remember correctly, and it's with the female characters that's gonna be in the next Hollow Knight game, which is I'm super excited for. I can't wait for that game to be ready. Don't remember the name. I'm really bad with names, but I'm gonna talk talk so much. I'm gonna leave you with my video. Please subscribe, hit like button, share. That will help us a lot, and I say us because hopefully we build a community here. And yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about the music? What would you change? What would you what you like? What you didn't like? What would you like to know? If there's any specific question I can, you know, respond to, or even make a video about that. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Here's the Hollow Knight video. I see you in the next one.